Let's talk links. Accessibility microtraining.
Okay, so today's micro training topic is all about accessible links. So this is really important for accessibility because links really are what connect everything on the web. And a lot of the times we don't think about all the different links that are on a web page when we create it. So if you look at all these links here, we have links in the global navigation. This Boise State University is a link. Apply, visit. This menu item has a bunch of links. We have page navigation within our sites. We have breadcrumb navigation within our sites. And then we have all the links that are actually put on the page itself. So there's a lot going on the page. And when you're looking at the page, we sometimes forget all those other links. We can kind of tune them out of sorts because we also have all these links down in the footer. A lot of us kind of zoom in on the links that are in you go through the page kind of line by line by line. So I'm going to see if I can turn a screen reader on and demonstrate that. So this is Chromebox. This is the screen reader that's built into my Chromebook. And I can navigate by just the link. So if I use my keyboard shortcut, I can jump from link to link.
Skip to main content and web guide home. Apply. Visit. Give. Web guide. Using web accept content analytics support web guide. Page templates. Void accessibility. Recommend. 10 tools for digital accessibility.
So the screen reader goes through using the shortcut key for link, shortcut key to pull up a dialog box with links, but I have yet to find it. But if you're using another screen reader like JAWS or NVDA, you can pull up a dialog box that you can look at all the links on a page, and that just makes it so it's easier for people to navigate. So if you have a lot of links on the page,
copy map URL.
I'm going to turn you off there. So if you have a lot of links on the page that are click here, click here, click here, click here, doesn't really tell people what they're getting. So one of the first rules for accessible links is to make them descriptive. So you don't want click here, learn more, read, go here, because it doesn't tell anyone anything. But if you look at the links we have on here, page templates, that tells people the name of the page they're going to go to. If you have email addresses, spelling them out, oitaccessibility@boisestate.edu. And then any of our panels that have kind of an area for a label or a link, those are ones that you can make descriptive. So some of our panels have kind of placeholder text put in there. The video panel is a good example. Let me see if I can get down to here. Gallery title, iframe, video and text panel. So when you plug in your video name into this video panel, your video URL, it automatically is going to add the word play. If you have more than one video on a page, you now just have play, 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 play. What you want to do is actually make that link text descriptive. So on this recommendations for accessible panels page, we have some examples of how you can use these panels where you need to have descriptive link text and things like that. The other things to keep in mind when you're thinking about content on our web theme is how content interacts with other pages. So any of your news posts, they don't exist in a vacuum. Your news posts can get pulled into a news panel or displayed on this news page. The theme automatically puts these read more links here. So that's not one you have control over, but we have code behind the scenes to make sure that that read more link is connected to this article. So when you're thinking about your news posts, think about this page title, how you can make that a descriptive link, because even though it's the page heading, it's also going to be a link on the news page. The other place that has a lot of links is our event panel. So think about how you're naming your events. So that way the heading for that event gets pulled in as the event title, which is then used as a link on the events page or in the events panel. So kind of think about how all this content connects together. The other thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about news posts, let me get one pulled up here, is to think about these categories that you're assigning, because those are also links. So a lot of the times I see people put news here as a category, but news is also the link here. So you're adding a link that's not really descriptive for people. So really think about how you're categorizing those posts so that it's descriptive as well. Same with the events. Our events can have categories or tags on them as well. So think about how you're using those categories and tags so that they're descriptive so that people can use them to kind of help navigate. So that's kind of a quick overview. Do you guys have any questions about that?
I do have a question just about how you post a link. So, or how you display a link. Is it ever okay just to actually put the link, the URL itself on your page, or should you always kind of disguise it in your text?
You can, but think about how it's being read out to someone. If you're listening to the link text, let me see if I can demonstrate that. Let's turn on Chromebox.
Chromebox spoken feedback is ready. BoiseState.edu web guide details.
How Chromebox would read it out. And you can kind of follow it. If it's a really long URL, it might be a little more tricky, but having accessibility micro training is just a lot easier to listen to and a lot easier for a screen reader user to listen to. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, so think about how you can use that link text to explain what the purpose of that link is. That's what's going to be the most helpful to users. I'll go ahead and start my video there. That's what's going to be the most helpful to users because they're taking in a lot of information, what we're doing visually when we're looking at the page. It's easier for them to listen to something that has a descriptive text. Let's see. There, stop share. There we go. It's easier for them to take in the information if it has a really good description, as opposed to http://boisestate.edu/webguide/accessibility/. So really, one trick I like to do is just put the name of the page that they're going to. So if we're taking them to a page that is on grants, put the name of the grant as the descriptive text. And then that's just going to be easier for them to understand. It's going to be easier for them to listen to, and it's going to stand out really well. Any other questions about links?
I have a quick question about the categories and tags point that you made with news. I'm having a hard time visualizing how the categories and tags I see in my in the WordPress dash, when I'm editing a page and adding a news article, how that translates to text on the web page itself.
Yeah, so what page are you working on?
Well, I'm just thinking about if I have a news post and I put a category and a tag on, I'm trying to think about, so I think I put news, and I can't remember how. I don't have it up in front of me, and I do it infrequently. So, but I'm just wondering.
Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe I missed your point.
So one of the. Yeah. So let me see if I can demonstrate this. The news site has a really good example of this. Okay, so Boise State News. All of these top stories, in depth, all of these different news feeds are using the categories to pull the content in. So if we go to view all top stories, so the tag here is featured. So anywhere that tag is will get pulled into this news feed. So that's one way to use tags. And it has the tag featured, which doesn't really display on the page anywhere, but then it also has these categories: health, science, and technology, and news for the campus community. So if you wanted to pull in anything from the news feed, the Boise State news site that has this health, science, and technology category, you could. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So,
okay, thank you.
So the categories display on the page at the top, and are just another way for us to navigate. So I can click on health, science, and technology, and it will pull up all of the posts with that health, science, and technology. And that's really helpful if you're wanting to create like dynamic content. So once you create this post, it's going to filter in to different news panels throughout your site. So that's really helpful. So that's how you can use those categories. So really think about how they're connecting together when you're displaying it on the page.
Okay, good. Thank you. That helps.
And you can use tags or you can use categories. You don't want to put like the same tag in the same category on it because it's just redundant. So just really think about how you're using it. You don't necessarily have to put either a tag or a category, but if you do, just be very thoughtful about it and think about how that's being used on the website. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have any for today. Thanks, Carolyn.
One thing to keep in mind when you come to links, I did create a little video with some tips for you guys to reference if you have any questions. So mastering web accessibility, the very first video is generic links. So whether you're putting a link on a WordPress page, whether you're doing it in an email or a document or a web presentation, using those really good descriptive links is a great way to make your content more accessible, because then once people get to those links, they're going to know exactly what to do with them. They're going to know where it's taking them, and it's just going to be easier for them to navigate. I've noticed since we've been home on quarantine how difficult those click here type links are, because they're just so hard to see. I have to think harder about them when I go to a page and all I see is here, here, and here. I have to read the whole line to figure out where I'm going to go. So I've noticed that a lot more just since I've been using the web more, since I've been home, and I'm using it differently. So it's really not just the descriptive links are helpful for screen reader users and blind or non-visual users. It's really helpful for everyone. And when you think about a 4-letter word link here on a mobile phone, I've had to zoom in to try and activate that link where a really good descriptive link would be easier to access.
Oh, those are good points. Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions about links?
No, I think you mostly answered the main question I had.
Perfect. Well, if you have any questions about links, feel free to get in touch with me. Next week, I'm going to be showing how to find broken links, inaccessible links, links related to SEO in Siteimprove. So if you haven't really explored Siteimprove at all, I'm going to focus on how you can use that tool to update links on your site next week.